Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome back to another episode of the O-Cast with me, your boy O. In this episode right here, we got to talk about this NFL draft. Round 1, round 2. The world is shook. The world is talking big shit about my Falcons. Not little shit. Big shit. Like, it's all good. Matter of fact, that's where I'm going to start. I ain't starting with the obvious of Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May. We ain't going to talk about that first. Nah. Gotta talk about the pick that shook up the draft. With the 8th pick in this year's draft, the Falcons, my Atlanta Falcons, pick Michael Penix Jr., quarterback out of Washington. Now, I intentionally waited until the end of today to make this video because I wanted to listen to First Take, Get Up, Undisputed, First Things First, Speak, Colin Coward, Rich Eisen. Hell, I even watched the Stephen A. Smith show on YouTube. Nightcap with Shannon and Ocho. Like, I wanted to get everybody's perspective on the trade because there was such a wide range of emotions about it, but it kind of tipped to favor the what the hell are the Falcons doing? It was a lot more of that. It was a lot more of, I can't believe it. What are the Falcons doing? They just reaching. They don't know what they're doing. They how will you pay Kirk Cousins so much money and then you draft Michael Penix Jr.? The Falcons are just being the Falcons. Man, shut up. Chill. Because a lot of you don't think outside the box when it comes to sports. A lot of you don't think outside of what the media paints in front of you when it comes to sports. You gotta have your own mind when it comes to these things. Now, I know I'm not the only person that feels like it was a good idea. It's a good pick. Stephen A. Smith, surprisingly, has similar feelings as I do. Colin Coward, he expressed, that it was a good pick as well. All of us just use different terminologies. But for myself, a true Falcons fan, not a reporter, not a TV personality, whatever Colin Coward, call themselves. I mean, he's pretty good. I listen to his show sometimes, he's a big numbers guy. But coming from a real fan, I like it. Notice I didn't say I love it because, I'm not going to be ridiculous, but I like it. However, I like the pick of Michael Penix, but the pick does make me dislike signing Kirk even more. If you are a subscriber to the channel, if not, you need to fix that. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It's easy. It's right underneath my video. Right underneath the video. Just hit that for me real quick. Appreciate that. And if you watch my previous video on the free agency, specifically the signing on Kirk Cousins, if you haven't watched that yet, hey man, you're missing out. Go ahead and watch my old videos. But to that point, I wasn't happy with the signing of Kirk Cousins. I wasn't one of the Falcons fans saying, oh, yeah, we got our quarterback. We got the missing piece. Oh, we're Super Bowl contenders now. What? With Kurt? Cousins? Kurt? Nah. He's not a Super Bowl winning quarterback. He's not. I made it very clear that I understood the Falcons' decision in signing him instead of getting someone like Justin Fields or at the time, drafting a quarterback, which I thought was off the table once we signed Kirk. But he's a prototype franchise quarterback when it comes to how he conducts himself in the locker room, in press conferences, and in the city. He is a face of a franchise. He's a nice guy. Look at him. He's a cool guy. God-fearing man, family first man, handsome guy, very articulate, very intelligent, knows how to put on a suit, knows how to go and do charity events. His wife is a nice lady as well. If you didn't know of these things, check out the quarterback documentary on Netflix and you'll be able to see he's a likable guy. It's not too many people that can say, I don't like Kirk Cousins as a person, as a man. Nah. But that's why the Falcons picked him. Arthur Blank has been itching for a franchise quarterback, face of the franchise, similar to Matt Ryan since we lost him. Even more so than what he's seen on the field. But also as far as the business side. Kirk Cousins is a quarterback that ends those restless nights for Arthur Blank and our GM, Terry. Because we're going to be decent. We're going to be nice. We all right. Kirk knows how to win in the regular season. He does. He does. He knows how to distribute the ball the right way. He's not going to hold on it too long. He knows how to lead the team. He knows how to lead comebacks. He's going to be prepared every single week. He's a great locker room guy. He is an average NFL starting quarterback. He's not a backup. He is a starting quarterback, but he's average. He's not moving the needle. He's a game manager. He's not a game changer. I piggyback off of Cam. I know exactly what Cam Newton is saying when he's talking about game manager and game changer. Kirk Cousins is absolutely a game manager. Not one of the best in the league as that either, because he has only won one playoff game in his whole career. One. So the Falcons signing him, I immediately knew he was a bridge quarterback. I understand that he's said all the right things in all of his press conferences. I understand that. I understand Raheem Morris and GM Terry, they decided that we're in position to win now. We have a quarterback that's going to ease our stresses about not having a quarterback, because if the last coach had a good quarterback, then Raheem Morris wouldn't be here, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All right, cool. There's some truth to that. It is. But Kirk Cousins is not the answer long term. We're not going to win a ring. We might win a division, but that ain't too hard to win our division, man. The NFC South, we weak right now. We weak. It's not that strong. It just really ain't. So saying that we going to win a division, whoop the fucking do. Come on, Falcons fans. We've done that before. We've been to the NFC Championship game and lost. Won one time with Matt Ryan. Went to the Super Bowl. And you know what happened when we got to the Super Bowl? I ain't even finna get into that. Zoom past that. But Kirk isn't the answer. Now, with signing Michael Penix Jr., I'm not going to necessarily say he is a generational talent somewhere near Caleb Williams. I'm not going to say he is a future Hall of Famer. I'm not even going to sit here and say he's guaranteed to lead us to a Super Bowl. But he has game changer components. He does. He's similar to Geno Smith at a younger age. He's similar to even a Kirk at a younger age, except he's more mobile than those guys. He can get out the pocket better. And one of my biggest critiques of quarterbacks now is, can you get out the pocket? Can you be mobile? Can you make off-platform throws? Because the defensive linemen and the edge rushers of time in today's game, they're just way too athletic for you to be a statue back there. Those days of the Tom Brady's and the Peyton Mannings, the Phillip Rivers, the Drew Brees, those days are over. If your quarterback can at least get out of the pocket to make a throw consistently, you're not going to be able to be that successful. You're not. You're just not. You may be able to win some regular season games, but when it comes to the playoffs, when those pass rushers are giving 110% on every play, they're not taking plays off, and they rotating guys in and out. Everybody's locked in for a specific game plan for you. They don't have to worry about next week. They're worrying about right now. It's weird. It's why Kirk Cousins has never been successful in the playoffs. And he's had talent. But with Michael Penix Jr., he can make all the throws. He's a young, vibrant player to go alongside the rest of our young talent to grow together. You know, that chemistry is going to be phenomenal. But on top of that, you know, I don't mind him sitting for a year. Now, a lot of the press is saying that our GM and head coach, they're saying that we're more than happy for him to sit 4 or 5 years. That's not true. That's simply damage control to ease the blow on Kirk Cousins' ego. Simple as that. Because we still want him to be successful this season, to at least have us in a winning situation, to have us in the playoffs, to make us a free agent destination, to help put more butts in the seats. I believe he can do that if he can stay healthy. But all this talk about this is so messed up to Kirk Cousins, this is so wrong to him. Come on, man. For what? Wrong for who? Kirk? Mr. 100 milli? Guaranteed? Come on now. He got the bag. He did what he was supposed to do when it came to that. Secure the bag. And for people to be saying he deserves better, we did him dirty. How? What? He hasn't done anything for us. He hasn't even suited up in a Falcons uniform to play one game yet. We don't owe him shit. What, his feelings? Man, Stephen A. said earlier, he was like, I don't give a damn about his feelings. Man, I'll do you one better. I don't give a fuck about how Kirk Cousins feel. At all. Back up that talk you had in your interviews saying that you desire to retire a Falcon, but you fully understand that you have to earn that right. You have to earn that right. And the only way you earn that right is by winning a ring. And I do not see us winning a ring this year. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. To fans that are saying that we should have gotten an edge rusher or a linebacker. What? The first defensive player didn't come off the board until pick 15. We had the 8th pick in the draft. Do you understand the rookie pay scale? So there was no defensive player that we felt like was worthy of taking that high in the draft to pay that much money. That's going to mess up our ability to be able to put other pieces on the defense. And you don't spend big money on defensive players unless they're a stud, downright killer, dog. That's when you take a defensive player that high in the draft. That is when you do that. And no defensive player in this draft is that. It's not. You have decent guys, and then it goes lower than that. To the ones that say, well, you could have traded the pick and got more pieces. For what, man? For what? I like the pick. It gives us insurance at the quarterback position, just in case Kirk Cousins goes out there, gets hurt in the first week, second week, and we end up looking like the New York Jets. You don't put all your eggs in one basket. Last season, there was a record number of quarterbacks that started a game in the NFL that season because of so many injuries. The quarterback position is so important for you to have more than one. And what better for us to have than a stud young rookie behind our starter, our vet, 36-year-old guy. to learn from. He's not going to be thrown out there into the fire like Bryce Young when he's not ready. He gets to learn. Are y'all forgetting some of the most greatest quarterbacks of all time were drafted to a team that already had a veteran solidified starter already there? Steve Young. Yeah, Joe Montana. Come on, huh? Come on, huh? Pat Mahomes. They had Alex Smith. And before you say, man, Alex Smith, bro, Alex Smith was winning in Kansas City. He was winning towards the end of his stint in San Fran. He was winning his entire time in Kansas City. But they knew he's not getting us over the hump. His ceiling is great success in the regular season and maybe 1 or 2 games winning in the postseason. He doesn't have it to get us over the hump. And that is the same for Kirk Cousins. Oh, if you want to say, well, Michael Penix, he's old. He's going to be 24 next week. And if he sits down for 2 or 3 years, he'll be 27 years old when he finally starts a game. Bro, you act like he playing running back. He's playing QB. QB. That is a position that can be played at a high level well into your late 30s. But all of a sudden, you forget that. It's just a bunch of hoopla about Kirk Cousins. I'm not going for it. And if you're a fan of my channel, I'm not going to let you go for it neither. The Falcons, we not going to win the Super Bowl this year. We were not in a running. We were not contenders just because of Kirk Cousins. We became a threat to make some noise, similar to what? Maybe like a Detroit Lions. You dig what I'm saying? A team that's taking steps to being Super Bowl contenders. This is where we are at in the beginning of that phase. We did a semi-rebuild. Dare to say a full rebuild with those trash-ass quarterbacks we've had the past couple years. But it is a rebuild nonetheless. Getting Kirk Cousins puts us in a better situation to go ahead and we're going to win now. And then if it doesn't work out with Kirk Cousins sooner than later, because he does have a 4-year deal, we got young boy ready, hungry to make something happen. I like it. I'm not going to say I love it. Because at the end of the day, Michael Penix still has to show development. He has to take advantage of sitting behind Kirk Cousins the entire season. You know, he can't get caught up in complaining about time. He can't get caught up in the questions that he's going to get after every bad game Kirk Cousins has. He cannot get caught up in the noise because he's not going to be your average backup quarterback. After the games, there's going to be reporters at his locker. Not every backup quarterback has to deal with that, but he is. And he has to make sure he learns professionalism. He learns how to be a team player. He learns how to be a leader in this situation this whole season. He has an opportunity to grow mentally and to mature as a man, which is a very important aspect of football, especially playing that position. The skills, he has the skills. That's going to pan out, but he definitely has to get better. He has to learn these new NFL defenses. He has to learn our offensive scheme. I definitely see us having the same offensive coordinator for the next year or two. So he's going to have some continuity when it comes to that. And if Kirk Cousins is the man that he portrays to be, he will be a good mentor. He should be a good mentor. Especially when he experienced the same thing when he was drafted. The only difference is he and RG3 were drafted in the same draft class. And when I come to think about it, that may be another reason why Raheem Morris picked Kirk, because he loved his character. And he knew in the back of his mind he was planning on taking a chance at a quarterback now. Because with Kirk, we should not be picking that high ever again. We should not be. I don't see that. We should definitely be a 10-plus win team for this season and maybe next season if Kirk is playing. So we're not going to have this opportunity again. So take that now. Take that now. And you never know what's going to happen to Kirk. You never know. Look at, like I said earlier, A-Rod got hurt on his first play with the Jets. And once he got hurt, the whole season was down the drain. With us, that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. We got Willie Beam in that backup. Kirk Cousins is Dennis Quaid. I don't remember Dennis Quaid character name in any given Sunday, but that's what we got right now. But nonetheless, look, hold your horses about the criticism on the Falcons. You don't gotta agree with us. You just gotta watch us. And when we turn this around and really become contenders, keep your apology. Keep the same energy. Just watch us. You dig? Now, of course, in the second and third round, we answered those other questions. We got interior defensive tackle from Clemson, Rook Ohoro. I think I pronounced that right. Ohoro. Let's just call him Rook. And then we answered the edge rusher problem in the third round with Braylon Trice out of Washington. I like both of those guys. I do. Rook O. Let's just say Rook O. He had the highest rating for interior defensive lineman at the combine. He is definitely a project, but when it comes to the later rounds, in the NFL draft, after the top 10 and sometimes later into the first round, it's not so much about the stats that a player has had in college. It's not. Once you get in the later rounds or in the later picks, it's more so about picking the right player based off of the intangibles that you like or you desire in that position group. Meaning the combine, you have to pay attention to that. A guy may not have had a lot of stats when it came to college. Look, if they went to somewhere like Alabama and Georgia, they were definitely a great player, but it's so many of them in rotation, they're not going to have great stats. So you have to have great recruiting, scouting when it comes to pros. You got to have great scouting when it comes to picking your later round picks because it's vital. Speed, the broad jump, the agility drills. Not so much of the IQ test, but the one-on-one interviews with teams, understanding the kid, understanding the player, understanding his concept for the game, whatever, from the position that he plays. All those things are what is important when it comes to picking in the later rounds in the NFL draft. In my opinion, we did a good job. You don't expect to get a superstar out of these later rounds. If it happens, it's because that kid worked his butt off. And they got into the right situation. It's both, not one and not the other. It's both. Brock Purdy is a perfect example. Had he not been drafted to the 49ers, I don't think he would have been this successful. He would have been similar to the rest of the quarterbacks picked in 2 years ago, the draft with Justin Fields, Mac Jones, Trey Lance, Kyle Wilson. And who went number 1 in that draft? I don't remember. If you remember who went number 1 in that draft, put it in the comments. But from that draft, Trevor Lawrence. From that draft, Trevor is the only one that's really still a starter. And he on the hot seat. It's always hit or miss when it comes to drafting. Honestly, I know I just said in the first couple rounds, it's more of a sure thing, but it's kind of not. You got to see about do they fit in your system, and are you going to support them, and how much time are you going to give them in this time because of players like C.J. Stroud, Justin Herbert. For some reason, teams feel like every rookie quarterback should be able to come in and have that kind of success, but it's not the case. Look at Bryce Young situation compared to C.J. Stroud, and this only difference is one and two pick, one pick, but the Texans had a lot more line to make C.J. Stroud more successful. In my opinion, Carolina still hasn't done anything within this free agency or in this draft yet to make the situation better for Bryce Young. Unfortunately, I think that kid's going to be put out. He's going to have a tough time in his first years of his career. And with him being so small, I don't see him having that long of a leash. Eventually, he's going to be reverted to a backup quarterback, and I think he's more talented than that. But, not to digress, Braylon Trice and Rook or Herrero. Man, I promise I practiced that last name before I started. But, I like those kids. I like those youngers. They're going to come in and make a good impact, put some young energy on the side of the ball for us. I know in the past 3 seasons we've had the worst pass rush defense. The worst. I think only like 80 sacks in the past 3 seasons. That's awful. But however, we still had a really good defense last year. That secondary is nice. And I fully expect us to probably draft another cornerback this draft to go on the other side of H.A. Terrell, because I feel like that contributed to A.J. having such a regressive season. The others, he was getting attacked. If we get another decent corner on the other side of him, that'll help him tremendously. We got the best safety in the league at Jesse Bates. I feel like that defense is going to be good. I think we're still going to be solid. We have our star, we have our leader in Jesse Bates. It wasn't imperative for us to go that high in drafting one of these young defensive players. I like who we got, and I don't feel like these two are that far off of what Brian Murphy, who was the first D tackle taken off the board, and Dallas Turner, who we were expecting to get from out of Alabama. But Dallas Turner wasn't even the first edge rusher taken off the board. The young kid from UCLA, one of the twins. I don't know how to pronounce his name either, but Latu. Latu. He was the first edge rusher taken off the board, and he's nice. He's nice, but no defensive players taken in the first 10. The first one was taken in at pick 15. So I like this draft. I like it. It's not that big of a deal. Everybody need to calm down, acting like Kirk Cousins is Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre in his prime, or Peyton or Tom, or even Phillip Rivers, if that matter. He is not like that for everybody to be in such awe or disbelief when it comes to the fact that we drafted another quarterback. Now, I will get it. The major point of why everybody is tripping is because we paid him so much money. At the end of the day, only 100 of that is guaranteed. I say only. And we don't necessarily have to keep him for those 4 years. Right? Hopefully he does well this season. At least this season, because even if Kirk does have a bad year, I don't want us to switch to Michael Penix. I'm not a fan of switching quarterbacks in the season. Whoever wins that job at the beginning of the year, that's my opinion. They need to play the whole season unless they get hurt for some reason. And that when they get hurt, unless that backup is balling out, they should get their job right back. But, in this situation, if Kirk does get hurt and we go to Michael, that's it. We need to stick with Michael. We need to stick with him. It's very important for us to, my opinion, put Michael Penix as a higher priority than Kirk. 36 years old, just came off of Achilles injury, only one playoff win. He's a quarterback mentor. Only difference is he's not on the bench. When, the quarterback mentor is usually in that role, he's in the bench behind the rookie. In our situation, it's just unique. He's starting, and he just got signed. He's new there. So, I think it's a great situation. I feel like Raheem Morris and our GM, Mr. Terry D, they're doing a great job of building a team for long-term success and to ultimately be Super Bowl contenders, and understanding that it's a process year to year. You don't just get a new player, a new quarterback, and all of a sudden you're going to win the Super Bowl. It doesn't work like that. It takes steps. It takes some heartbreak years, us doing great in the regular season, then missing the playoffs. It takes us doing great in the regular season, then making the playoffs, and then losing in the first round. And then it takes us doing great and getting past the first round, maybe even to the NFC Championship game, and then losing. It takes learning from experiences. It doesn't just happen overnight. It doesn't. Detroit, they are doing it right. Pay attention to what they got going on. Green Bay as well. They're doing it the right way. But even with that being said, all the hoopla about we didn't draft to win the Super Bowl, or we're not focused on winning the Super Bowl. If a lot of the entertainers on ESPN and ESPN2 were saying if they were a Falcons fan, we should be mad because this shows that our team, that our organization isn't trying to be a Super Bowl winner. They are trying to be a Super Bowl winner, but we're not winning this year. We're not in that group. Every season, there's only maybe 4, maybe 5 teams that are really legitimately have a chance to win the Super Bowl. 4 or 5 every season. That's it. Every year, it doesn't open up with everybody has a chance to win the bowl. That's not how it works. And if you feel like that's how it works, you in la la land, and you need to come back down to reality. You do. We're not there yet. So chill. Take a chill pill. And just enjoy the process. You dig? No Joel Embiid. Now, of course, now let's get to the rest of the top 10 picks. It wasn't too much craziness. Everything kind of really went the way we thought. Caleb Williams went to Chicago, number 1. Jaden Daniels went number 2. Drake May went number 3. Marvin Harrison Jr., who was going to be a stud. He may win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Real talk. If Kyler Murray can stay healthy, Arizona Cardinals definitely have a monster of a defense. This can be a season where they take a step forward in their rebuild to being competitive. This season, I don't see them being competitive. They're still going to lose a lot of games, but they're going to play hard and be competitive. And if they build, and then it'll be up to them in that front office to build off of this season and put more pieces around Marvin and Kyler Murray, whether that be adding one more piece to the defense that's already kind of stout, or adding a running back, because James Conner, it really isn't, he's a solid back, but he's not really one to move the needle or be a game changer. He's just solid, But with that pick of getting Marvin Harrison Jr., I see him having a great rookie season similar to Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase. I really do. Look out for Arizona if your team plays against them this season. That's not going to be an easy W. It's not. Then after that, the Chargers got them a tackle, which was solid, which was good. It wouldn't have hurt for them to get a receiver. They lost Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. And Austin Eckler, the running back. To me, they should have gotten Malik Neighbors or Roman Dunze. They should have, or the other receiver out of LSU. I wouldn't have faulted them for that. But instead, they decided to go with the offensive lineman. Then we were the first real shakeup of the draft, in my opinion. Some people feel like Malik Neighbors going instead of J.J. McCartney was a big deal, but not in my opinion. I think J.J. McCarthy, went where he should go, to Minnesota. It's a decent situation for him. That's the most similar situation to Michigan that he could have gotten. So I'm not really a big fan of him. I don't necessarily think he's going to be that good. I think he's kind of overrated. I think he was a good quarterback for college football, and he was on a great team, which ultimately is a great combination when we talk about college ball. But when we get to the pros, every team is going to be a great team in a sense, meaning the talent is going to be way better each game than the talent he saw in the Big Ten each game. And he's not going to have the outright best player on every position on the line of scrimmage and almost nearly on the defensive side of the ball like he did at Michigan. He's going to be required to make more game-changing plays, and I don't see him being able to do that. He's more of a game manager. When Justin Jefferson is just one guy, a receiver is not going to be the reason why a team wins a Super Bowl. Not alone. A stud receiver needs to have a stud quarterback and also a stud running back and also a stud slot receiver, too, to take the pressure off him. Slot receiver or tight end. Somebody to manage that middle of the field. And it's just Justin Jefferson over there. Yeah, T.J. Hawkinson, he all right. But, he's not really moving the needle for me. So, J.J. McCartney went in the best situation possible. He will have way more success in Minnesota than he would if he was to go somewhere else to a different team. Drake May going to New England, I feel like that's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. That New England fan base and that organization is used to a certain level of success. I know that they, fired Belichick. They got a new coach. I believe the team is, what's his name, Robert Kraft. I believe he's trying to sell the team, I believe. If not, they're kind of trying to turn the page from that Tom Brady, Belichick, and Kraft era and start anew. That's, Drake May, if he has the intangibles as far as size, decent getaway speed. He can get out the pocket. He can move. He got the arm. He got the size 6'4". Got the weight on him. He has those. But as far as, he wasn't all that great at North Carolina. He wasn't. I believe he's one of those quarterbacks that got picked highly because he has the prototype look that NFL teams want. 6'3", 6'5" type, strong arm, all of that nonsense. People who still have the old school mindset when it comes to picking quarterbacks. He's that. It makes sense for him to go to New England. I think Jaden Daniels, he's going to be good. He's got a good offensive coordinator. Dan Quinn is going to be good as a head coach, at least for the first season or two. I think Jaden Daniels is going to be really good. He is. But the Bears. Let's talk about the Chicago Bears. As you all know, I am Justin Fields' #1 fan. What the Chicago Bears did this offseason further proves my point that they did Justin dirty. He was drafted to Chicago with the intent to be a bridge quarterback until they were able to get somebody else. They didn't draft him with the intent like they had with Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels. Hell, they didn't even have the same intent that Minnesota has with J.J. McCartney, because Minnesota feel like J.J. McCartney gonna be it. They got them one. That's how they feel. Chicago, they did him dirty. He had 2 head coaches in 3 years, 2 offensive coordinators in 3 years, 1 decent Pro Bowl level receiver in DJ Moore, an awful offensive line running for his life every season. And somehow, when they trade him, they get Keenan Allen, DeAndre Swift, and they also they trade and get Montez Sweat for the pass rush, who's going to have a great season next year. And then they draft this stud out of Washington, Rome Odunze. And then in the second round, they draft a decent offensive tackle prospect to protect him, to protect Caleb. So they used Justin for a filler to start the rebuild, right? Like the stages, like I just got done explaining, there's stages to this thing and rebuild to become a contender. You got to go through the sorry stages where y'all trash. Then you got to go through the stages where y'all competitive. Then you got to go through the stage where y'all competing to be in the playoffs and threaten teams. And then you go to losing in the playoffs, etc., etc., etc. Right? Right when the Bears get past the trash phase and they skip the competitive phase, in my opinion. Trade Justin for a bag of chips and a red pop. If you don't know what I mean with red pop, I mean red soda. Like, come on, man. And not even the big bag of chips, the 99-cent pack. The pack that you get from out the box. You dig? The ones on the side in the gas station. One of them bags of chips. Come on, nah. They did my boy Justin dirty. They did him dirty. Because all of a sudden now, the Bears are showing you that they are a contender. With Caleb, they're going to be in the playoffs. They may win that division. It's not a guarantee because Detroit is real. And Green Bay is real. You know. And Minnesota is going to compete. They're not going to be pushovers. They're not going to slouch. But with that team, if Caleb Williams plays the way that we expect him to play, they should win that division because he's better than Jared Goff and J.J. McCarthy and Jordan Love. But the one thing that the Chicago Bears can't change is that they are a bad organization when it comes to quarterbacks. You are who you are. It is what it is. They put all these pieces around them to win. But when things go wrong, when things go awry, when they hit the turbulence in the NFL season, which is inevitable, I don't think they're going to be able to stick it out. I don't see them being able to get the boat to get back steady once it gets rocking. It's the Bears. They don't do well by quarterbacks. It's in the history of the organization. You can't change who you are, man. You can't. So, Caleb Williams got his work cut out for him because he's definitely going to be under the most scrutiny out of any quarterback in this class. And it's not even close. It's not even close. I think he's a great kid. I think he's a great player. But in the NFL, there's so many different factors that contribute to you winning and losing. It's not just about you being good. It's not. It's not. The organization got to be making the right moves for you. And I don't see that happening. They're doing a good job with adding the pieces, you know, what they've done. They definitely created a better situation for Caleb than they did for Justin. But karma is real. They going to get what they deserve for doing my boy Justin like that. Now, with Justin, man, I'm happy he went to Pittsburgh and, you know, similar to Michael Penix Jr., you know, or Justin may have a similar story as Geno Smith. He had to go somewhere else, sit for a minute to really process what just happened to him in Chicago and really learn what it means to be a winning quarterback in the NFL because he's uber talented, extremely talented when I'm talking about Justin. But like I just said when me describing Caleb Williams' situation in Chicago, was way more things that contribute to winning in the NFL than it is you just having raw talent. And I will not be biased, and I will admit that Justin needs to learn those other things. He has to learn how to talk in the camera. He got to learn how to be a better leader. He has to get out of his comfort zone of being quiet. He has to switch it up. No, that doesn't mean being rah-rah, but he got to figure out how to get emotion out of his teammates, out of grown men, millionaires. He has to figure out how to get them to follow him. And he doesn't have that down pat yet. As well as learning, to read defenses better, to make better decisions in key situations, to be the game changer that I know he can be. He has to learn that. And he's in a good situation. He's in Pittsburgh with, my opinion, the best coach in football, Mike Tomlin. And he's behind Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is going to play just like Kirk Cousins is going to play. Justin and Michael Penix Jr. have the opportunity to become really, really elite quarterbacks. They don't have the pressure on them to start right away. They can just sit back and learn. Prepare every week like they are the starter. And then pay attention to how the actual starter plays and take your key notes and say, okay, well, I would have done it like this. Whoop, whoop. Both of them have opportunities to the following season really, really break out. Really break out. And I'm just glad Justin is in the AFC now. So I can really, really root for his success even harder. So, yeah, that's my breakdown. More so for the draft. It's not too long. I don't necessarily have a winner just yet. The draft is not over. I'll be picking a winner and a loser of the draft at the end. But I will say, as of now, the team that is making the most noise is Chicago. It's Chicago. Like, they are building a good situation for Caleb, which infuriates me even more because they just did Justin dirty. They showed that they could have done the same thing for him. Now, imagine if they had kept Justin, they could have got Marvin with the number 1 pick. And they could have been the team to trade back from that 9th pick and gotten one of those edge rushers, either Latu, the kid out of UCLA, or Dallas Turner out of Alabama. Or they could have got the corner out of, I believe, Toledo, Youngin, the guy that got drafted by the Eagles. Oh yeah, they could have got him. Or they could have got Youngin, either one of the 2 corners out of Alabama, Kool-Aid or the other cat. Yeah, forgive me, I don't know their names. They ain't all that for me to know like that. But as of now, yeah, the Chicago Bears, they did their thing. So all eyes is going to be on Caleb. And no, I still don't think they have a great coach, head coach, office coordinator, GM, owner. All those things matter. We'll see. Philly is definitely going to win that division. But, Caleb and the Bears, they might be a hot second. They may be a hot second behind Philly. Cowboys, they're not going to be as good this year. I don't see it happening. I think the Cowboys are preparing to get rid of Dak. I really do. Shadur might be going to Dallas next season. He might. He may be getting drafted to Dallas. Just my opinion. I don't see Dallas. I know it may sound crazy, but I don't see Dallas really tripping off this season like that. I mean, they will because they're going to have the hype as Dallas. Dallas is similar to the Lakers. The Lakers really ain't had no chance to win the finals this season, but they get all the talk because they're the Lakers. Same thing going to happen to the Cowboys. They realistically not going to be a Super Bowl contender. They're going to be criticized like they're a Super Bowl contender, but in reality, they're not a Super Bowl contender. It's just not. Let's just be real. Yeah, so NFL draft, round 1, round 2, first 2 days, they were pretty, it was a lot. It was a lot. Like I said, I'm happy with the Falcons picks. Michael Penix Jr., welcome to the A. I know you're going to do good. I know you're going to do great. Young brother in the city, that's for him. Black Hollywood. I expect success from him. Just be patient. Don't get caught up in the media trying to press the issue about are you ready to start? Because he's going to get those questions every single week. This is going to be great media training for him. It is. Gotta see how he handles it. Now, that brings me to the end of the show. You know what this is. It's time for a real shit segment. Real shit. End of the show is where I speak on something other than sports. Speak on something that more real, more intimate to me, especially how I'm feeling currently, or just a lesson I've learned. And this real shit, it's gonna be about being patient, staying the course. Be patient, stay the course. What is for you will be for you when it's time to be for you. Ooh, shit, that's a bar. Ooh, try to tell you. Alright, chill. But no, for real. We live in a time in society where they call it the microwave time period of society or generation, whatever. Basically, everybody wants things to be instant. Everyone wants instant satisfaction with everything that they do. And also, everyone is comparing the rate of which they should reach a certain level or some type of success based off of somebody else's time frame. And that's not the case. I understand social media makes it difficult because you're constantly being reminded of what everyone else is doing, especially in the same field as you. But you can't be caught up in that. You can't let what somebody else has achieved in the time period that they have done it in be your measuring stick to whether you're successful or you're a failure. Because you gotta understand, you are not in that same person's shoes, and you don't have the same opportunities of them. You're not in the same situation. It's just going to be different. You have to be realistic with yourself and create a real plan and time frame for yourself to be successful. It's no different than you can't be pocket watching. It's the same. You can't be watching what other people are doing and thinking, okay, well, they got it in 2 months, I should be able to get it in 2 months. It don't work like that. And even if you put in the work or more work than them, it may very well just not be time for you to do that. You got to have trust in God. You got to have trust in your process. You got to have trust in the fact that you want it so bad enough that you're not going to stop until you do make it, till you do achieve that goal, until you do reach that milestone or that next step and then that next step. You know? Be patient. Stay the course. What's for you will be for you when it's time for it to be for you. And that is real shit. This has been another episode of the OCast. I appreciate you for watching it with your boy. Don't forget to hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. I only got 20 of y'all. Come on now. Help your boy get up to 50. Help your boy get up to 50. If you're watching it, hit the subscribe button. Hit that like. You know what? Leave a comment. Even if you disagree with my point on the Falcons. Let me know how you feel. I promise I'm going to respond back. Come on now. This is the show for me and you. For all of us. To talk that talk. This has been another episode of the OCast with me, boy.